Some brand new drugstore makeup caught my eye. So today I'm putting on almost a full face of hot new drugstore makeup. I have foundation and concealer, a cream blush, and of course, lipstick. Now this is not a first impression. I have been playing with these products for the last several days and I do have opinions. So let's get into it. I have 3 products from Maybelline. I have their brand new Lifter Plump and Glow Foundation, as well as their Lifter Serum Concealer. You know, they're really leaning into their very popular Lifter line. And I also have their brand new Cloudtopia Lip and Cheek Mousse, which is, of course, a cream blush. And I have one product from Revlon, their brand new, what is this called? Super Lustrous Ultra Lipstick. Look at that gorgeous packaging. Anyway, I did my morning skincare about a half an hour ago, so my skin is nicely prepped. And we, of course, are going to start with foundation. This foundation does come in 24 shades, which is pretty good for the drugstore. Now, I did order my shade online based on my other Maybelline foundation shades. I ordered shade 120 Neutral. Let me show you the shade and the consistency. But I also want to show you how the shade and consistency compares to my other Maybelline foundations. This one is their, what is it? I can't remember what it's called. Lumi Matte Foundation. Let me give it a good shake. So their Lumi Matte Foundation, also in 120. And their Fit Me Dewy and Smooth Foundation, also in shade 120. And you're going to see there is, whoa, quite a variety of shade difference, even though they're all shade 120, which is very frustrating because I would expect there to be consistency. Anyway, this is the new one, Plump and Glow. It is a little bit deep and warm for me, but it'll probably work a little bit better for me in the summer. And this is, what is it? The middle one, Lumi Matte, and this is the Fit Me. And you can also see that the new Plump and Glow is a little bit on the thicker side. All shade 120. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read you the claims. This is made with 90% skincare, including niacinamide and hyaluronic acid for visibly plumped, brightened skin. It contains no denatured alcohol or SPF. It claims 24-hour long-lasting hydration, buildable coverage with a radiant finish that lasts all day. It sounds right up my alley. Now, my preferred method of application with this is with a foundation brush. So I am going to start with 2 pumps on the back of my hand because the pumps really are not very big. And then I'm going to take my BK Beauty 106. This is a round, dense, but very soft foundation brush. And I'm going to work that foundation really well into the brush. And then I am going to sort of pounce and blend it over my skin. I'm not swiping, I'm really pouncing and blending. You know, the shade isn't too bad, but it is just a little bit deeper and a little bit warmer. For my winter skin, like I said, I think it'll work a little bit better for my summer skin. Let me get my magnifying glass so I can see how that is blended in. Yeah, I got some pretty good coverage on that. Then I do like to take a damp beauty blender and just make sure it is pressed seamlessly into the skin. So here is one light layer compared to no foundation. I am going to build it up just a little bit. One more pump, worked really well into the brush, and just blend it in on the sides of my face where I get some hyperpigmentation, and around my nose. And again, pounce it in. And again, that's the foundation built up compared to no foundation. Let me get it on the other side of my face. And again, with the sponge. You know, the sponge just ensures that the foundation is pressed into the skin, and it also removes any excess foundation. All right, foundation is on, and it's setting down really nicely without any tackiness. Now, I really have not felt the need to powder this foundation. Let me take a closer look. Aside from the shade being a little bit off, I think it looks really nice on the skin. I got a solid medium coverage with just a touch of soft radiance. It is not clinging to dry patches or accentuating texture, and it is definitely long-lasting. Before I move on to concealer, I am going to apply a brand new lip plumping lip oil. Now, this is not drugstore. It is a small, independent, female-owned company called Bella Mark. And I have to say, it does a really nice job plumping and hydrating my lips. Now, it is one of those that is a little on the spicy side, but it doesn't hurt. And like I said, it really does plump and hydrate my lips and get my lips ready for lipstick. Anyway, moving on to Maybelline's Lifter Serum Concealer. This claims hydrating, long-lasting, full coverage. Really nice ingredients like glycerin, peptides, and caffeine. It comes in 18 shades, and I picked up the shade 35 Light Neutral, which unfortunately is a little light for me. It is so difficult finding shades online. Anyway, it does have a pretty big doe foot applicator, and I do find the formula a little bit stiffer and thicker than I expected from a serum concealer. I think you can see how pigmented it is. A little goes a really long way. So my preferred method is not to dot it on under my eyes. Rather, I'm just putting some on the back of my hand and picking up my concealer brush. Oh my gosh, if I can find it. There it is. Picking up my concealer brush, and just like the foundation, I'm working the concealer into my brush. This is a REPHR B05. It's a really nice concealer brush. Anyway, work it into my brush, and then I'm going to very lightly pounce it. Yeah, it's a little on the light side. Pounce it. This enables me not to over apply. Yet, oh my gosh, it really is a full coverage concealer. Can you see the difference there? I'm also going to take it a little bit onto my eyelid. I have to be really careful not to over apply this, or it can get a little bit cakey. Now, this is long lasting. However, I do feel like it looks a little bit dry as the day wears on. So unfortunately, this is not a favorite. And I probably will not be trying to find my perfect shade. My #1 favorite drugstore concealer remains NYX Serum Concealer. Maybelline's Cloudtopia Cheek and Lip Mousse claims to be ultra pigmented, but light as a cloud. It claims a blurred matte finish that lasts all day. It claims to be transfer resistant and sweat resistant with a 14-hour wear time. It comes in 10 shades, and I chose the shade, what shade? Dreamy Dawn, which is supposed to be a nude but to me it is pretty pink for a nude, and I hope you can see how incredibly pigmented it is. And because now, Maybelline says you can apply it with fingers, but because it is so incredibly pigmented, I do prefer to apply it with my BK Beauty 112. Again, very, very fluffy brush, and it fits perfectly in here. And I'm just barely tapping it in. But I still want to take a little bit off on the back of my hand because it is really pigmented and it is really easy to overdo this blush. So I would much prefer to build up light layers rather than get too much on. Now, I always struggle. What looks, bright to me in person doesn't always show up on camera. So I might over apply just a little bit so you can see the shade. It is really pretty, even though I expected it to be a little bit more nude than pink. Oh my gosh, see? Even there I applied just a little bit too much. Now I am trying to keep my blush above my nose so it doesn't drag my face down. And I do put a little bit on the fleshy upper apple of my cheek, pretty close to my eye there. And what's left on the brush goes over the bridge of my nose. Now this is definitely a matte formula, which normally is not my personal preference. So what I am going to do, my gosh, that dries down immediately. Like I said, I really don't prefer a matte formula, so I am going to apply my only drugstore highlighter, Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. Let me find the appropriate brush. Oh my gosh, this is just one of the best drugstore highlighters ever. So finely milled, so beautiful. Just a very, very soft glow. Never glittery or shimmery. Just the perfect amount of glow. Did I put too much blush on? Anyway, I do think this is a really nice blush. I think I personally will get more use out of it in the summer when the heat and humidity gives me more than enough glow, and I need that extra longevity because this definitely is a very long-lasting blush. So if you have trouble with cream blush lasting on your skin, you might really enjoy this. Anyway, I did not see any eye makeup at the drugstore that caught my eye, so I am going to go off camera, do my eye makeup, and then we'll come back and play with some lipstick. For my eyes, I used my everyday, tried and true drugstore favorites that I've talked about a million times. I will list it all below. Actually, everything I'm talking about today, including my favorite earrings, my darling top, and all my discount codes, will be listed and linked in the description box below and in the top pinned comment and in YouTube shopping as usual. And last, but absolutely not least, is lipstick, my favorite category of makeup. Now, I have been a lifelong super fan of Revlon lipsticks. I absolutely adore their classic super lustrous lipstick. Comes in a million shades and I have quite a few. And their newer Shine Balm comes in 10 shades and I have all 10. These are my two most used lipsticks and they live in my purse. Should I show you the shades? Let me just show you the shades of my two most used lipsticks that live in my purse. This is Revlon Rose Velvet. And I love to top that with, this is shade 004. This is a nude. It's a really great sheer topper. Anyway, these are my two most used lipsticks I have repurchased over and over again. So I was incredibly excited when Revlon launched their brand new Super Lustrous Ultra, which is an Ulta exclusive. Look at that gorgeous packaging. Really sparkly, really smooth, gold, and gorgeous. Now, this claims full coverage. Let's see, fade resistant, yet moisturizing and long wearing. And I completely agree with those claims. Now, I did pick up 3 shades, and I am going to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. I might have to wipe these other swatches off. Give me a minute here. All right, so this new formula comes in 10 shades, and like I said, I did pick up 3. I picked up 013 Cosmos, which is a soft mauve. I left the rose velvet on there for comparison. So this is 013 Cosmos, a soft mauve, and 007 Sedona, which is a brown berry, nice rich brown berry. And I had to pick up a red. I picked up 009 Fireside, which is a warm, rich red. So there is Rose Velvet, Sedona, no, Cosmos, Sedona, and Fireside. Now, I feel like the lipstick that will go best with my blush today is Sedona. So that is the one I'm going to put on. Let's see, let me find it here. Actually, I might as well try on a couple of these at least. So I'm going to start with 013 Cosmos, which is the lightest one. And full pigment with one swipe. Yet it feels really creamy and moisturizing. So there is Cosmos, a really pretty mauve. Next, I'll put on Sedona, and this is the brownish berry. Oh my gosh, again, such full pigment on the first swipe and really, really creamy. Actually, I think with what I'm wearing today, Sedona goes a little bit better, but as long as I'm trying all of these on, let's put the red one on as well. 1 minute. And Fireside. Oh my gosh. I think this is going to be the perfect red for the holidays. Final thoughts. We had some winners today. My favorite, of course, was the lipstick. I might actually pick up the rest of the shades and do a lipstick swatch party like I did with the Revlon Glass Shine lipstick. Aside from the shade being a little bit off, the foundation looked really, really pretty on my 66-year-old very dry skin. And the blush is also excellent. Now, this can also be used as a lip product. I probably should have shown that. My least favorite is definitely the concealer. It's just a little bit too thick and stiff for my personal preference. But my biggest gripe is the shade inconsistency between the Maybelline complexion products. I ordered shade light medium in both the foundation and the concealer, yet the foundation was just a little bit too deep and the concealer was just a little bit too light. And you could see the shade difference in shade 120 between Maybelline's various foundations. It makes it really difficult to find a shade online. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful and enjoyable. And if you did, please remember to give this video a thumbs up, maybe even a hype. That really helps support my channel, which I very, very much appreciate. And with that, please take extra good care of yourself so that you can stay safe, happy, and healthy this holiday season.